Follow the pool.
No, you're taking the lead. That's
Oh,
why I asked you.
Okay.
You always take the lead.
Okay. Alright, let's start there then. Tell me about that.
Tell me about what?
I always take the lead.
Yeah, you take the lead in a relationship, unless you let me take the lead. Like, if you look back at the tribal days, I think it was like that for a reason. Like, men would often lead the relationship, and in the physical realm, gets deep real quick. And women would often be more in touch in terms of like emotions and spirituality, and I would often help you to expand through that. And like, let's be honest, if I wanted to go out and like fight a bear, I could probably do that because, you know, I'm a strong, powerful woman, but I don't want to.
FYI for the viewers, fighting bears is my favourite pastime.
Okay.
So if I'm watching this and you said like in tribal times, back in the day, thousands of years ago, but like it's not tribal times, why do we still do that now?
So I think that a lot of the world has changed, right? Like, women have the power to go out and do whatever they want, but I think, and this is me included, I've definitely taken it too far. Like in our relationship too, I remember like when we were living in Europe a year ago, and how I was like always trying to be in control of everything, and how that doesn't really go anywhere because I often try too hard to like know everything and be in my masculine, and whenever a woman is in her masculine, she's always leading, and that never really ends well because, like, do you really want a feminine man?
Even when you desire to be in control, you also don't. So there's part of you who's like trying to be in control. I want this, but then you don't actually take the responsibility of making the decisions. Like, this is what we're doing. It just comes out as an I want and kind of naggy, because there's like the two sides, right? There's the there's a part of you that wants to be in control, but then there's also the feminine side of you that doesn't, and it's like, you decide. But by the way, I'm going to tell you what to decide, but you decide. And like that just, it doesn't work, 'cause it feels, for a man it feels very trapping, like there's no freedom, and
That's
very overbearing. Go on.
That's a huge thing, is like freedom in the relationship or in general. Like, freedom is our highest value, like the both of us, and I think with freedom comes a deep phase of surrender, and if you can't surrender, then you can't really experience true freedom.
Yeah, that's it. That surrender is the key word, and it's a lack of trust, and it's not necessarily a lack of trust in our case in me, or in anyone else's case in the individual. It's a voice in the back of your head, the fear, the ego that's like, but if I do this, what's going to happen? I'm going to get hurt. He's going to leave me. Someone's going to hurt me. I'm not going to get what I want. And true freedom, it comes when you can truly just be in the moment and let it all go. It's like, whatever happens, happens. You don't need to try and control exactly what's going to happen, because you have faith on a higher level that we're going to get where we need to go.
Yeah, like what you're saying about that need and that fear to control, that often doesn't happen. It's often something a lot of women make up in our heads. Like, I know, especially growing up, I would think a lot, and like even now I remember like what did I think about last night? I was just like overthinking. I was thinking about something really stupid and talking to him for like 20 minutes about it, and he was like, you said, oh baby cakes, you're just in your head, you know? Like, women often think too much about things that don't even exist, and oftentimes if you do talk about it with your man, like every time I come to you and I say like, this is what's in my heart and this is what's in my head, you often comfort me with saying like, that's just not true, you know, that's just in your head, you're just thinking too much. And it's very important that as men, and you always make me feel this way, but to make her feel safe. And that's the only way that she can surrender. Like, it's impossible to surrender if I didn't feel safe. Especially if you've been through shit, right? Like, I'm pretty sure that everybody watching this, men and women, would have probably gone through shit. And if you're feeling safe, you're in the feminine. So men included, like, you need to feel safe in order to fully express and further deepen your masculinity. It takes that intertwining energies to really understand the depths of each other.
I think one of the difficulties as well, it's not, oh, okay, I've met this man, now I can just surrender like that, where in one moment it's okay, I feel totally safe now. If you've not felt safe in the past, or maybe ever, or if you've been hurt, like, it takes time. The way that to depersonalize it and to externalize it, if you look at any kind of animal shelter, any kind of animal that's been abused or neglected, you put it in a shelter, it's scared of everything. And the people that are running the shelter and the people that want to adopt and foster these animals want to do nothing but love them, but the animal is scared of everything. Like, humans or animals, we feel the same way, men and women.
Yeah.
It takes time to rebuild that trust and to push the boundary of safety and to, like, dip your toe in the water and experience that, okay, this is okay. This is okay. And, like, each time the boundary gets a little bit further and a little bit further. So it takes time to get to that place of, like, full surrender where you might want to be. So you have to allow that time. You have to give yourself the grace to understand that it's a process. It doesn't just take, like, one moment. It's a continual, ongoing process, and still is, and probably always will be.
Going through shit and, like, going through trauma is like another thing. We often hide behind it. Like, I know I did for a very long time, and I would blame the masculine or the opposite. Even if I was in my masculine, I wanted to, like, take the lead, I would still blame you for being in the opposite. It's like as if the desire of wanting to stay in that trauma together and loving each other through the pain body. And it's really funny because every time I do that and every time I stay in that, like, pain and stay in that trauma and constantly trying to unravel, like what you're saying about the animals shake it off and then they're fine, right? And it's like human beings, we don't know how to shake it off, and then when we actually do face it, we stay in it and we stay in this, like, very toxic, unhealthy loop. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I'll tie that in with what you were saying before about, like, overthinking.
Yeah.
Thoughts are infinite, and thoughts are something that come to you. You don't decide to have a thought, they just come into your head. And all thoughts are based in a feeling space. So my theory on why women tend to overthink more than men is because women feel more. So there's this feeling space that they're feeling more, and that then brings up thoughts. So within each feeling in the body is like a constant stream of thought. You feel some anxiety, you feel some pain. That just leads to an incessant, everlasting train of, like, negative thoughts or insecure thoughts that always come up.
Insecurity is not cute, ladies.
It's not. Like, men, you know, the things that women would typically say to men is that they're not as in touch with their feelings, and that's true. But sometimes that's also good. It's like a man, like, we have this experience a lot. Like, we'll be doing something, and you'll be like, "How do you feel?" I'm like, "I feel like I'm eating my dinner." Mm-hmm. Now, my head isn't elsewhere. I'm not thinking about what that person said to me yesterday or what happened 3 weeks ago when such and such a situation. It's like I'm eating my dinner. I'm enjoying putting the steak in my mouth and chewing it. And because you're a lot more based in your feelings, it's like you always, and I think this is all ties into why women multitask better, you always kind of half present doing what you're doing, but also half elsewhere, re-experiencing, re-feeling something. That's where that train of thought comes from. I think one understanding that you can go through is that these thoughts are not you and they're not real. They're based in some feeling space that you've got from the past.
No.
Now put my gloves on.
What?
Now put my gloves on.
I'm dying of heat.
You want to
I'm
film that?
sweating like crazy. Love is like food to men. Love is like food to men, and I feel like that's important because a lot of us expect, as women, expect men to always like be there emotionally, and it's like, as much as he loves food, and you can give me your thoughts, you would get full and throw up, you know? And I think that's important to think about.
I think, again, because women are more based in the feeling space, they want to always experience the good feelings, the love, all the other good feelings that you would experience. Without perspective, without being able to like observe yourself externally, like yeah, you can have that, but what happens there? So if we just exist in love for a week on holiday, it's beautiful. For a year of me not going to the gym, me not building a business or making any money, it's like, what do I have to give you?
A lot of people in the world want to just like lock down a man, and I see this phrase all the time, like lock him down, like, you know, girls go out and like shoot the, what do you call it, these phrases that I always see, and it's just, it's very toxic because you wouldn't want to lock him down. Like, think about, like, okay, I'm locking you down, like, is this attractive? Immediately, like, your face was like, what is going on? Like, leave me alone, you know? Men need space, and truth be told, women need space too. We just don't know how to work with that, and we don't know how to build ourselves up in that independence, you know?
Yeah. I guess the way you said it is traditional in that, like, the man goes out to work, the woman stays at home and looks after the house, and is very kind of cooped up at home and defines herself by the family. Like, even more traditional from times before that, when we were like hunter-gatherers, women would be in groups of other women, like the women and the children of the whole village, like, you know, 50 people, would be together. So, and the men would go out to hunt or to go out to war, also with other men. The idea of like the monogamous woman stays at home on her own, looks after the kids, doesn't have a life, that is less traditional to me than the community-based, like going out, having lots of friends, having lots of activities.
I agree. And I think a lot of women hold themselves through that victim consciousness of pain. Like, oh, I'm so scared this is going to happen, so I'm just going to go and create it. And I'm going to go through and what I mean by create it is like, you wouldn't ever really see a woman staying at home and doing that, but they would take it to the other extents of the extreme, and they would go and like work and block themselves off to love because they're so afraid. And I speak for a lot of people. I speak for my friends, my family, the people that I speak to, my clients, like myself. So this isn't just something on the top of my head. Like, I'm sure that women don't want that. They don't want the extreme ends. And if you're a woman watching this, you have to understand that women want to play. Women want to flow. Women want to not have any rules. We want freedom. And in order to have that freedom, we need that structure. It's that experiment of the playground, right? It's like, if you were to put a children in a playground with zero structure, zero fences, they would just go around, walking around in circles and feel completely lost. And if you were to put fences up and give them a kind of like space to really be around, a container, you would often notice that they actually find a lot more experiences and things and people to play with, to speak about, and that's kind of like a relationship. I mean, I think whenever you're stuck and whenever you're lost, just look at children. And there's a lot of experiments and experiences out there that really use children. That sounds kind of shit, but yeah.
That also ties in to what I was saying before about how we feel differently and the expectation and understanding of each other. Like, women typically in traditional times would be in groups. So you'd be going out, you'd be like searching through the forest looking for berries and things to eat, but oh, don't stand on that snake, and you're chatting to your friend and where are the kids? Whereas men are like, I'm tracking this boar with a spear, like nothing else, this is what I'm doing. And when men are in that moment of doing it, they're not talking about like with their mate. They're not talking about like the argument they had with their wife last night. It's just like bore, nothing else, just bore. And even more so, like if men go out to war, if you're in a war and there's people shooting at you or throwing spears at you or trying to stab you or whatever time we're in, you don't have time to stop and be upset about your best friend just dying next to you. You can't experience that because the minute you stop, you're dead as well. So men always have to be in the thing they're doing, finish the thing they're doing, go away, be in a place that they feel safe, and then they can process their emotions. Now, a lot of men don't do the process their emotions, they just drink them away or hide behind them, whatever their outlet is. So deeply built inside his DNA is that if I'm here in a space of vulnerability and physical weakness, because I'm in my emotions, I'm not alert, I don't know what's going on around me, you're going to die. That's why men need that safety, the after the fact, probably alone, probably somewhere that they feel very safe at home, to be able to process things. And I think when people understand that, and also the other way as well, like women are diverse focused, they're used to having 20 things going on at once. That's why women can multitask, and that's why women can be doing something but also experiencing something and feeling something and processing something all at the same time. I think both genders need to understand each other and accept each other too. Like, one of my learnings is like if we're at the airport going to get on a flight and we're going to be late and you're like feeling something about something, in the past I was just like, just shut up, feel it later, because we're going to miss our flight.
And I would be often worse off, and I would like create this huge argument and get really annoyed and upset.
Yeah. Like I learned that, like, just stop and give it 30 seconds, give her a hug, and then we can move on.
Yeah.
Like, that was my understanding as, you know, that's what women do. They need to be there in the moment.
I think having respect is important. Respect for both. Like, it's very ignorant to say like there are no gender roles. Like, I hear a lot of people say this in relationships, like there are no gender roles, it's equality, we're equal. Like, that's could be true and all, but like if you don't have gender roles and if you don't stay in stability with yours, and you don't, like, if you're a woman, you want to be in your feminine, you want to play, you want to have fun, you want to accept. Like, think about how annoying it is to always make dinner reservations and to always just like take the lead. That's not what you want to do, and it's extremely emasculating to go and constantly look for that and to constantly like search for it and to really plan everything out all the time. I think the most important thing is to like be patient and have respect for each other's roles. Like, to know that as a woman you need to have patience, and as a man you have to take the lead. And women, you're not any less for letting him take the lead. In fact, it's actually building you up to be more of guidance.
It's because people don't understand, they then can't respect. So they feel, it feels passive and weak to let the man take the lead, because women don't understand why. They don't understand how it benefits them. They don't understand the nature of a man. They don't appreciate the differences because they don't know the differences. Men expect women to be the woman, but also have a lot of masculine traits, because again, they don't understand. They've not put themselves in the other's shoes. And it's very easy for you to demand or say what you want, men and women. To actually understand and respect takes humbling yourself and looking at the other, understanding the other, seeing from their perspective, understanding the history or the biological genetic lineage history of where each comes from,
Yeah.
to then be able to understand how that plays out today in modern life.
Yeah, it's important.
Are we finished?
No, because I have to talk about how important it is to like. I don't want to disempower women too. I think today we really focused on men, but like if you're like by women, I think women being a feminine woman is also being a powerful woman. Like
Totally.
yeah, I mean I think that everything that we mentioned, it seems, just to clear it up, like being a feminine woman isn't like, oh, being timid and shy and like I'm just gonna sit here and wait until he takes the lead. Like no, by giving your man space, it means like go and have a fucking life, go and do your thing, go and be a boss babe. Like that's what you have to do to be a feminine woman. Like it doesn't take just sitting around like in bed waiting for him to come and fuck me, or like waiting for him to come and take me out to dinner. I'm just gonna sit here looking pretty. Like that's not what it's like. It takes a lot of power and a lot of like self-confidence to be able to go out and be like, okay, he wants to do this today. In fact, don't even wait for him to come to you and be like, I want to do this during my day. Like you have your plans, never cancel your plans for him. Like no offense, but never cancel your plans for him. You know, have that, allow him to chase you, right? Like you don't want to.
That's it. Feminine power is magnetic.
Yeah.
It's not passive. It's not waiting for him. It's creating that magnetism that makes him come. Instead of trying to force, like, you don't need to go to him. You need to pull him to you.
If you want to take something away from this video, I think let him lead and you guide him. Like this is the greatest start, because leading and guiding is like intertwining energies, and being a man you would focus on leading, being a woman you would focus on guiding. Ultimately it's the same thing. Like true equality comes from really everything we talked about. Respect. Like what are 3 things that you can really wrap this video?
Seek to understand. From understanding allows a space of conscious respect, not a child-parent relationship of like respect because you're told to.
That's a whole other video, by the way.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
A true respect comes with your eyes open, totally consciously, totally based in understanding. So understand first.
Yeah.
Work on your stuff, because on both sides it's your own internal personal power, your own knowledge of yourself that creates the external that you want, whether that's a strong man, a powerful woman. It comes from you. It doesn't come from your partner. And be brave.
Free as well.
Be brave.
Yeah.
Like you have to be willing to put yourself out there. You have to be willing to surrender, to be like, to love is to give yourself to someone else where they can care for you, but they can also hurt you. You have to be willing for that. And look, if you're getting hurt, then you're probably trusting that in the wrong person, so you probably need to do some work on yourself to find out, why am I being attracted to someone who's not good for me? But you have to transcend that. You have to get past that and be willing to let go of the hurt in the past, let go of the smallness, to truly give yourself to the right person. Finished?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Can I push you in the pool now?
No. Please don't do it. Ah! Oh my god! Ah! Did you really just do that?
No. You imagined it. You're dreaming, baby, you're dreaming.
Oh my god. Just, if you're in a relationship, don't do this to women. Don't do this. This is my power. I have to surrender to this.